Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the Small Business Bootcamp and Resource Collective for this Thursday. We will get started here momentarily. We are waiting for everyone to load into the Zoom app, and then we will get started. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the Small Business Bootcamp and Resource Collective for this Thursday, September 17th. I'm Robert Theobald, the Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services for the Arizona Commerce Authority. We want to thank you all for being here today. Got a great session planned. We're excited about it with Danny Ayala from PTAC. So to start out real quick, I want to start by thanking our community partners. We could not do these sessions without our community partners. This is a small list. Our full list you can find on our website, but we have over 70 community partners that have helped with the boot camps, and we are very grateful for their expertise and their time to share their wisdom with all small businesses throughout Arizona. The Small Business Bootcamp and Resource Collective is designed to help small businesses work through this COVID crisis, work through this challenging time, and return stronger than ever. It is a statewide initiative supported by our community partners. And the Bootcamp and Resource Collective, we are going to continue on through October and potentially in through the end of the year, maybe in through 2021 as well. We're looking at options for that, but we want to continue to provide great content for all small business owners out there to help you and your businesses. So Small Business Bootcamp and Resource Collective webinars, we've done over 80 sessions. Today's the 81st session, so all the previous 80 sessions are available on our website. And we have sessions from PPP and loan forgiveness. There's guidance on how to return stronger, how to market your business. And all those sessions that are recorded and can be seen on our website. The same spot where you went on to register, you can also scroll down and find the archive sessions and access those on that site. Additionally, on the website, you can find our resource collective, and here's the link directly to it. Through the Bootcamp website, there's a link as well. And the resource collective contains all the resources that our statewide community partners have provided to help small businesses return stronger from the COVID crisis. This is just a sample list of some of the guides and resources that are available on the resource collective. There's guides for retail, guides for barbershops and cosmetologists, unemployment insurance guides, restaurant guides, construction industry safety recommendations, guidelines for returning to your workplace, etc. So a lot of great resources to help you and your business be strong through this time. So this week's topics, we have the 10 mistakes that can hurt your business growth. That was on Tuesday, and you can see that recording, and that was, actually that's next week's. Sorry about that. It says this week's topics didn't catch that, but that's next week's. Session 82 is 10 mistakes that can hurt your business growth. It's by Brian Burt from Snell and Wilmer, the law office of Snell and Wilmer. So we're excited about that session. It's going to be really awesome. It's a presentation he has put together to help small businesses understand and avoid some of those legal challenges you may see. And then on Thursday of next week, it's some basic financial statements. We're going to dig in and kind of workshop style and work through some of the profit and loss and cash flow statements, balance sheets to help prepare you to know your numbers as we come into the holiday season. Even though it's September, and you hear me mention holiday season as you're planning your supply chain and other things, everyone knows that holiday season will be here before we know it. And so we need to start looking forward to that now. Some quick updates. We've got our Empowering Rural Communities webinars by our Rural Economic Development team. Also, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program is still active and providing loans for the small businesses that need it. It is a great option. The interest rate's only 3.75% and spread out over 30 years. You can find that information on sba.gov. And then I've also included the link to the frequently asked questions about that program. So if you have questions, you can get those answered. I also added here just a quick note. I found out the information this week at the town of Florence has a Returning Stronger grant program. You can go to the florenceaz.gov website to find that information. So if you're a small business out in Florence, that's great news for you. Additionally, the Maricopa County grant program is still open. I've heard the funding is getting limited, so you can still apply, but there's no guarantee. But if you haven't applied, you may look at that as an option to get in before the funding is gone. Also, a quick reminder for the state's COVID-19 information and resource page, ArizonaTogether.org. Lots of great information there. And then for business information and resources for the COVID-19 period is our website, azcom.com/COVID-19. So please take a look at that site and find out that information. We keep it updated as often as possible so that when the new information comes out, we have it current. A couple reminders again. Many of you have seen this already, but we want to make sure that those that haven't know the different programs that the ACA has available for small businesses. Our small business services can help navigate the SBA and the SBDC. We can work with local banking contacts and provide some of the latest developments on different things around the state related to small business. Our workforce division can help your small business if you're looking to hire employees or train your employees or upskill them. They have different programs for all of that. And then our Arizona Manufacturing Extension Partnership is a great resource for all the small to medium-sized manufacturers looking to grow and scale their business. Also, we have a lot of people looking to start businesses now. They've decided that, hey, I got furloughed or laid off and want to start my own business, or you might just be looking at starting a side gig. We have our Small Business Checklist. It is an online interactive resource and guide to help entrepreneurs understand the commonly requested licensing and registration information, both local, state, and federal levels. You can find that at azcommerce.com/smallbiz, B-I-Z. So with that, we have Danny Ayala today. He's the program manager for the Arizona Procurement Technical Assistance Center, AZPTAC, as we like to call it. This is a great no-cost program to help businesses that are looking to do business with the government. Danny's been with them for a bit now and done a lot of other things in the Valley. One of the things I like here is he's an official. He's a basketball official, both high school and it says he's worked on some state and national championship games, so that's pretty awesome, Danny. So with that, we're going to go ahead and turn the time over to you and let you share your presentation.
All right, thanks, Bob. Yeah, it seems like it was a long time ago when I used to pop the whistle, but yeah, I spent 25 years and I had to have both my hips replaced. That's why I came off the court. With that, let's get right into the presentation. All right, hopefully everybody can see. Bob, you can see the
Yep.
PowerPoint?
It was good.
Oh, good. Well, welcome everybody. And Bob, again, thank you for the opportunity to not only speak to the Commerce Authority, but all the small businesses here across the state of Arizona. And we'll get into more detail a little bit later on the presentation on the PTAC and our program and our services. As Bob said, we are a no-cost program that you can utilize our staff in the realm of federal and local government contracting. And we cover the whole state of Arizona, so we'll get into more details on that. But this workshop is laying the groundwork and it's help you to evaluate your readiness for government contracting. If you have any questions, please use the questions and answer. And then at the end of the program, we'll have some time. Hopefully we can get those questions answered. And also we'll have some time direct you to our website that will to where you can sign up to become one of our clients. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Let's understand the basis of government contracting. First of all, who is eligible to compete for government contracts? One, any legally registered business. So once you get your business established, whether it's a corp, LLC, S corp, whatever it may be, you need to get that established first. And for purposes of this presentation, owned by a U.S. citizen. There is governments do buy products and services from non-U.S. citizen companies. So, but we're going to talk about owned by U.S. citizen. And also, we deal companies only for profit. We as a PTAC, we do not deal with nonprofit agencies. I know some of the SBDCs and SCORE and other organizations where the counselor can work for nonprofits, but we only work for-profit business. So let's talk about what steps that you need to take to get into this realm of government contracting. We got 4 key steps that we call. 1, you need to research your opportunities. And there's a variety of different ways to research what the government buys, and we'll go into more detail on what they buy, who buys what, and how they buy. But you need to research. 2, you have to register on appropriate sites and obtain appropriate certifications. We'll talk about that also too, but in the federal world, you need to have a Duns and Bradstreet number. And once you get your DUNS number, then you need to go to a federal site called System of Award Management, or SAM.gov as we call it, and you'll get more information through this presentation. And you need to register your business with that. During that, you will then get assigned a CAGE code. And there's also other certifications that you might be able to attain for your business in the federal. You can also, you self-certify yourself as a small business based on your North American Information Class Code, your NAICS codes. But there's also self-certifications for a woman-owned, a veteran-owned, service-disabled, and then the 2 certification programs where they call the 8A and the Hub Zone. And we'll get into that a little bit more in the presentation. And then on the local government side, there's really no one site. There is multiple sites, such as the state of Arizona, the different cities, counties, school districts, and universities. So we'll get into more of that in the presentation. Third step is eventually you have to respond to a solicitation, whether it's a request for proposal, invitation for bid, request for qualifications, or one that's real popular right now in the federal is sources sought. So again, you find out who's buying what, where they're buying, how you register, make sure you're on a qualified vendor list, that you're qualified to do business with that agency, and then eventually you respond to a solicitation. And then finally, hopefully you receive a contract, whether it's a federal or local government contract, a prime contract, or working under a prime as a subcontractor. And timeline, typically 8 to 12 months. Now, there is companies who get into this game and get a contract quickly, depending on price, what the government is looking for. Typically, doing your research, getting registered, responding, making sure your business is in a position to be successful, typically 8 to 12 months. So for today, we're going to talk a little bit about the federal, so like the Department of Defense. And then we look here to the right is this seal of the state of Arizona. Since we are located in Maricopa County, we'll talk a little about Maricopa County. And again, the 7th largest city in the country is the city of Phoenix. So I'll talk on who, what, where, and why, and how they buy. So let's get into a little bit more and see if this is really something that you're interested. It takes 8 to 12 months getting prepared. You want to make sure your business is in order. You registered in all the appropriate registration sites. If you have opportunities to get the different certifications that you may be able to obtain, and it is a consuming time to get all this done. So hopefully we can help you lay the groundwork and develop a plan and how you can then proceed to put yourself in a position to be successful. And then we'll talk a little bit more at the end about the PTAC, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, as well as other resources that are out there, not only with the Commerce Authority, but also our small business development centers that are throughout the state. So let's talk about who buys your products or your services. So one example is a federal agency, the United States government. There's over 2,000 agencies that buy products and services. So here are just some examples. Department of Transportation, Education, Corrections. Here in Arizona, we do have some federal correction facilities. And military bases, we have Luke Air Force Base here in the Maricopa County in the Valley. Down in Yuma, we have the Marine Air Base, as well as the Army Proving Ground. In Tucson, we got Davis Montez, and then down in Sierra Vista, we got Fort Huachuca. So we do have military bases here. Homeland Security is really, throughout every year is getting bigger and stronger. So we do have Homeland Security here, presence here in Arizona. And then also too, us being a border state, we're heavily with Border Patrol. We have VA, we have 3 hospitals here in Arizona, one here in Phoenix, we have one in Tucson and one in Prescott. EPA, we have one of the largest airports in the country. And NASA has a jet propulsion laboratory in California right next door. We've done some significant events with NASA who are trying to grow their vendor base here in Arizona. So there's 2,000 federal agencies that you can work with. Here in the state, you have 97 state agencies. Some of the big ones is ADOT. We see all the work going on throughout the state and road and bridge and highway construction. All the different school districts we have here. Again, the state prison is a large consumer, as well as our Department of Public Safety, DPS. The zoo, Access, Office of Tourism, the State Fair, Arizona Game and Fish Department, Arts Commission, Arizona Lottery, 97 agencies that buy products and services. Next, we just look at the different counties. There's 15 counties here in Arizona, us being here in Maricopa. But, those counties here, we have, to the east, you have, Pinal and Pima, and you go down to Cochise and you got Graham, Apache, kind of up north, Mojave, Pima, Pinal. I mean, there's 15 counties, and again, they all have their own Department of Transportation, Construction, Health, Sheriff Department, DPS, health systems. So there is quite a bit of opportunities from counties. There's 91 cities in Arizona, and a lot of them have their own police, fire department, parks and recreation, small city airports, libraries, waste management, community development, convention centers, transit. Those are just some examples of the different cities. So what do they buy? We talked about all the different agencies, 2,000 federal, the state, city, county, and we didn't even talk a little about more of the education. We have all the different school districts, which kind of fall under state, but you have also, for major universities here, Arizona State here in the Valley, down in Tucson, University of Arizona, as you're well aware of, Northern Arizona in Flagstaff, and then we have a Grand Canyon University, but there's other kind of educational institutions here also. So what do they buy? Well, here's some ideas on what they buy, like what we call specially funded projects. Consultants, technology expansion, research, wellness programs, training, art, website design. In the construction site, engineering, architect design, surveying, contracting, general contractors, environmental testing, our day-to-day services, janitorial, pest control, vehicles maintenance, staffing, food, printer, copier. We didn't list in there, but HVAC is a real big area. We live in the Valley of the Sun. It's very hot here, so HVAC is also real popular. Laundry, insurance, office supplies, furniture, uniforms, computers, anything and everything. I even seen one time Arizona Game and Fish Department had a solicitation out for eagle nest watching. Go figure, but they have an opportunity to watch eagles here in the state. So we covered who, what, when, and what they may buy, but how do they buy? So most are at 25,000, 50,000 are normally the kind of the guidelines. So in the federal arena, anything at $25,000 and above must be posted on a site. And that site now is called beta.sam. For those of you who've been in give federal contracting, and it replaced the old FBO, Federal Business Opportunity site, now merged into what they're calling beta.sam. So anything at $25,000 and above has to be posted on that site, whether they're buying a product or a service. So anything below $25,000, then they do their market research and they will contact companies and ask for either written or verbal quotes, and that's how they make their purchases. And then what's also been real prevalent lately is the Pro Card, P Card, but it is a credit card. And you have some agencies now have a $10,000 threshold that a purchase of a product or service can be purchased on a credit card. Now, most of your cities and counties here in Arizona, they have to publicly post their solicitations at $50,000 and above. So at $50,000 above, they post it on their website, usually each of the city websites or county websites of those opportunities. So for example, we'll take the city of Phoenix. So at $50,000 above, they post it on their city website for the solicitations. So for opportunities at $49,999 down to $25,000, they go to their qualified vendor list that you have to be on, and they will contact 3 businesses to get a written quote on a product or their service. So that $24,999 to $10,000, they will then contact 3 businesses and get a verbal quote. And then below $10,000, they buy at competitive rates. So the state of Arizona is a little different, as well as our host, which is Maricopa Community College District. Their requirements are $100,000 and above. So they have to publicly post that solicitation on a website at $100,000 and above. Normally, at least 2 or 3 qualified bids must receive an order for it to be awarded. So sometimes you may, if they don't get that, they will then continue to post it out. And in the federal government, under $150,000, they want to do it as a small business set aside if possible. So it's very important that you also respond to these solicitations. One of the big ones I want to talk about real quickly in the federal arena is what they call a sources sought. What an agency may do before they decide how they're going to put the solicitation, whether it's going to be a small business set aside, a woman-owned, a veteran-owned, whatever it may be, to do a sources sought to try to attain information from companies on who can provide that product and service. So if they want a yellow widget and you can provide that as a small business, you do not respond to that solicitation or sources sought, they may not know that you're out there. So then they may not make it a small business set aside. They may make it a general procurement opportunity, whereas everybody has an opportunity to go after it. You still have a chance to go after it, but you'll be competing with the large businesses. If they can get at least 2 small businesses or 2 women-owned, 2 veteran-owned, they can do what they call a set-aside. Then that would take that opportunity, put it set aside as a small business, and then you would be able to compete with companies the same size as you. Now, when you're going through all this process and you're getting your registrations and you're finding all this out, everything that you're doing is at no cost. So you can sign up everything for free. But there is, let me warn you, in the federal arena, when you're signing up, whether you're getting your DUNS number at first or you are signing up for your system of work management, there are going to be companies who are going to come at you and try to market their services to you for a fee. But everything that you do is setting up is all at no cost. And you don't have to be certified as any of the woman-owned, all that, to take advantage of the small business set-asides. When you register your business and the NAICS codes that you pick, all the information you check off, then you are then considered a small business. It is the discretion of contractors how the contract is going to be placed. So they do their sources sought, they do all their marketing they can, and then they make a strategic decision how that opportunity will be placed. So they can do a set aside, or if they can't find anything, they can do what they call a sole source. So there's other ways that you can also become involved. The use of prime contractors. There is large companies and even small businesses who are what they call private companies who are prime contractors. You can also get copies of their contracts to review. One of the things also, what's important to understand that when you're getting into this and doing your market research and finding out how competitive you can be in the pricing structure of going after an opportunity, is you can go, especially here locally, you can go to any city or any county or school district and get a copy of the contract. Say you are, I mentioned earlier, they have listed HVAC company. If you're an HVAC company, we know HVAC companies are being used throughout the state. You can go, say, to the city of Phoenix and get a copy of a current contract from an HVAC company who's providing a service to the city they're in agreement with. Tells you who, what, when, where, pricing, tells you everything. And remember, this is all public information. So you may have to do a public information request form, but they have to provide that to you. So all that, again, that information is public. If anything is blacked out, it's because it's proprietary. But pricing and what they do and how they do it is not proprietary. So you have the ability to see that. Then there's other opportunities that you have. Oops, excuse me. Let's go back. There are other awards. There's the GSA, General Service Administration, is a schedule that you can get upon that your products and service can be marketed then and sold to the federal government. There's an IDIQ, which is a federal contract for indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. It's a large contract that you can get on, and they can purchase from that. There's a MATOX, which is a federal construction contract. In fact, I believe Luke Air Force Base is doing a sources sought for their MATOC and the IDIQ for electrical contracting. I believe that is out, and that might not be concluded just yet. But MATOC is an opportunity where you answer with all your pricing and everything, and they accept you and award you a MATOC contract, and you're put into this contract. Then agencies can then use you for the prices that you've already negotiated with. There's also cooperative purchasing agreements that are regional. There's two big ones here in Arizona. There's one in the Mojave County area, and there's one in Pima County area. What a cooperative purchase agreement takes some small cities and small school districts, and they buy into this cooperative agreement so they get more purchasing power. So if you have a small town, say, for example, Quartzsite, who may not have a big purchasing power to buy services, then they go into the cooperative agreement where they get better pricing. Then there's statewide contracts. One of the things we talk about with the state has cooperative language in all their contracts. So if you do get awarded a state contract, you can market that contract to other cities and counties in Arizona, and they can also purchase from that state contract. Then they also what they call on-call list or qualified vendor list. That's where you see a lot of your custodial services, your landscaping, your HVAC, electrical. You get what they call on-call list. They may have multiple companies on that contract. When it is hot out here and you have one company who has a contract with maybe multiple agencies, they're real busy, so they have use of qualified vendor list. They can use multiple, or on-call list, use multiple vendors. And then there's also a couple of qualified vendor lists. For example, the city of Phoenix, for their technology, I believe usually January or February, they have a qualified vendor list where you have to be qualified on the technology side. Once you got on the qualified vendor list, then you're eligible to compete for contracts in the technology department. So how do we research? And how do you know if government contracting is for me? One, are you ready to compete? Do you have your proper registrations? Are you certified, or not really certified, but do you have their proper self-certifications in order to compete? Now, once you get registered, then you order, and you can also then go after the other things, whether they're a woman-owned, veteran-owned. We'll talk a little about 8A Hub Zone, but you must be registered on their sites. You must have those things in order, and then you can compete for an opportunity, whether it's $1 million contract or a $100 credit card purchase. Do you have past performance? They also look at too. Just think about when we, as an individual, when we're looking at contracting or hiring someone to do work at our house or our place of business. We look at they have performance, just like a resume. You're interviewing for a job. It's the same kind of thing. Now, if you have performance in the government sector, of course, you want to make sure you list that. But if you haven't had it, and which a lot of people remember, don't have it until you get it. But what do you have on the private sector side or commercial side that can, be used when you're talking to a contractor or you're completing a bid, or you're putting your capability statement together. You have your time and research to commit to the process. You talked about all the things, the research to get on a qualified vendor list, look at all the different agencies. You have to commit to that, and it has to be part of your plan when you're going after business, whether it's on the commercial side, residential side, and then of course the government side. And above all, are you financially stable? Your business. One of the things that is the biggest culprit of companies who fail in government contracting because their business isn't financially stable. I'll give you a quick example. Now, you have a contract to say provide lawn care services, cutting the grass at Luke Air Force Base. So you're out there and you have a $125,000 contract to do it quarterly, which is, that's a lot of money. So here you are, you're out there, you're cutting their grass. You get your staff out there, you're cutting grass, and you're making the facility look great. You've done all your homework. You registered, you passed the financial background, the security checks, you got everybody. It's a lot of steps in order to get on the Luke Air Force Base. So you've done all that. You're successful. You have your contract. You're out there. You're doing what you need to do. Now here's the end of the week, end of the month, end of the quarter. You have to submit your invoices for payment, and you're submitting to a process called the wide area workflow, which is an online, which a lot of your federal agencies use. So you enter all the information that you can. You've done your due diligence. You've done your homework. You think you've done it right. You enter that information, and you should get paid within 30 days. Well, something happens. There's a glitch in the system. You forgot to check a box. You didn't send the right invoice. Someone on the receiving end didn't get it in time. They didn't process it in time. 30 days turns into 45. 45 turns into 60. 60 turns into 90. You don't get paid on time. What happens? Can you still pay your staff? Can you meet your payroll? Can you still put gas in those lawnmowers and your trucks to get to that facility? Those are the things you really have to be thinking about getting into, not only in government contracting, but all aspects of whether it's in the private sector side or the commercial side. So companies, and that is, highly unlikely that would happen, but those things can happen. So you got to make sure you're financially stable to go after those contracts. The other thing you also got to think about too, your profit margin on a government contracts are a lot lower than in the private and commercial sector. And remember, government has been doing this for a long, long time. They know what they're doing. They know what they're buying. They've done their market research. And above all, it's our tax dollars. So they're going to do their due diligence to spend our tax dollars wisely. So how does the government help small business? So let's talk a little about the different certifications and assistance that you may be able to receive. So if we look at the city and local, City of Phoenix, City of Tucson, as well as Arizona Department of Transportation, looking at the state side, has what they call a small business enterprise certification. It's gender and race neutral. You can get your certifications based on the net worth of the owner or owners of the company. I believe it's up to 1.3 million, and excludes your primary residence, your retirement 401ks, and I believe your investment in the company. Then you can get what they call a small business enterprise certification. And you can go to phoenix.gov/SBE to find that out. If you're also looking at different places you need to go to get qualified your business in a qualified list, vendor list, you go to thatcity.gov. Most of your agencies are all going to be at .gov. Now, again, SBE is gender and race neutral. One thing about SBE, you can get that certifications, but today there is no set-asides for SBE utilization. Phoenix and all the counties and cities, they buy their services, they buy at competitive rates, but there's no set-aside even to being a local business in Phoenix or a local business in Arizona. The state also has what they call a DBE program. You can also get that certification through Phoenix and Tucson. There's no set-asides for that, but you can get that certification, and they have a unification between Phoenix, Tucson, and Arizona Department of Transportation. But in ADOT, they have a DBE set-aside program in their roadway and bridge construction. When they award a prime contract, there is a percentage put on each contract for DBE utilization. So you can go through that DBE system and get that DBE certification if you are a minority or a woman-owned business. And let's talk about that just briefly. Any of the certifications relies on 51% ownership. So if you're a woman and want to qualify as a woman-owned, you must have 51% ownership of the company. If you're a minority, you must then be 51% owner. Also, the state, they try to qualify business that contracts under 150,000. And here's the sites you can go to look at the DBE, and then also sign your business up as a qualified business at sbo.az.gov and get signed up as a qualified business to work for the state of Arizona. And they also have a blind and disabled set aside. Most of your, when we do travel across the state, a lot of the the comfort stations or release stations, the restroom stations that you may pull into, a lot of their concession areas or their soda machines and their concessions are also blind and disabled contracts. So there is opportunities for that type of disability. In the federal arena, they $150,000. They do try to then award it to a small business if they can find qualified. Earlier, they at least need 2 to 3 people who respond in order to do that, but they try to keep all contracts at $150,000 and below to small businesses. Then 23% of the purchases also go towards small businesses. In that 23%, there is a certification for woman-owned, and then the economic disadvantaged woman-owned, which is set based on your NACE codes. Currently today, there is your woman-owned. The SBA now has a portal where you have to submit your documentation. I talked a little bit about your 51% ownership. There's a set of documentations you must upload into a repository where the woman-owned or economic disadvantaged woman-owned, they review it, and then you get certified as a woman-owned or economic disadvantaged woman-owned small business. Your veteran-owned and service disabled, you can self-certify yourself as a veteran-owned or service disabled in the System Award Management or SAM. But then the VA department has a program that will certify you as a veteran-owned or service disabled VA verification. And we highly recommend, if you are a veteran-owned, 51% veteran or service disabled, you have at least 1% disability on your DD 214, which is your document you get for those of you who are veterans. When you leave the service, you get a DD 214. 8A is a minority certification program. It's a 9-year program that once you apply for and you accept the 8A program, you're in it for 9 years, and there's some set-asides and direct awards assistance in the 8A program. The Hub Zone is a gender and race neutral program. It's based on your location of your office. So if you are in a Hub Zone, which is a historically underutilized business zone, you can qualify your business as a Hub Zone. That's step one. Your office is located in Hub Zone. The other qualification is that 35% of your workforce must also live in a Hub Zone. And you get more information at sba.gov on those set-aside programs. And of course, we can also help and assist you through our PTAC program. And where do you go to learn more? Well, here's we talked about, all the different agencies. So if you go to your city, all the different agencies, you go to yourcity.gov or yourcounty.gov. And then you also, a lot of your schools are .edu. So you go to Phoenix Union High School District.edu, they may have an acronym for that. And you want to go into look at what the different departments, they have different areas. Some of your purchasing could be in your financial system. Some could be in warehouse. So you have to look around, or you can go to a site and ask for, procurement registration, a qualified vendor list, and get on a qualified vendor list. It's simple information. And want your company name, address, your phone number, website, email, any tax ID number. If you have a license that's needed to do the product or service that you have, you need to report that. And some also are then also asking for your banking information, because most of your financials are all done online now through your bank. Your state, you're going to go to procureaz.gov, and here's the different departments. Most of your state all go through ProcureAZ. You do have a few, such as Department of Transportation has their own, at their website, they have their own solicitation offerings, because they have some set aside the DBE program. Remember, most your ADOT road construction, we do have Interstate 10, Interstate 17. So you get federal funding. Anytime you have federal funding, then there's some set-asides associated with that. Sometimes your correction facilities will get some federal funding, as well as DPS will get federal funding. So there might be some set-asides. And then CFPO.gov, I'm sorry, I need to update this. I got an older slide that I used. I clicked on the wrong one, but it's really beta.sam.gov now is where you go for your federal solicitations. So that should say beta, BETA.sam.gov for your federal opportunities. And who's going to help you? Well, if you do not have a business plan, you haven't refined your message, you're not financially stable, you need to do market research, you'd like to understand your profit and loss profit margins better, and I saw that Bob has, the Commerce Authority has one coming up on a workshop on that, you might want to go to the SBDC. And to register, you go to maricopa-sbdc.com. Or if you are not in Maricopa County, there is SBDCs throughout the state. Every county has an SBDC. If you have been in business for at least 2 years and a half performance history, you got a unique skill set as needed by the government, you're financially stable, and you pursue government contract, go to our website, azptech.com. In there, you'll find on request an appointment. Click on that and fill out our online applications for services. Once we receive that, I'm more than likely to be contacted by Bianca, our admin and our staff. She will reach out to you and then schedule you an appointment to meet with one of my procurement specialists. And again, we cover the state. We cover every county. I have a procurement specialist who can assist you. And finally, what is a PTech? I've been doing all the talking about our program, which stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center. PTechs have been around since the 80s. They are in every state. There's more than 94 PTechs throughout the country with more than 300 offices. There is different types of PTechs. There's state, regional, and Native American. I run the state PTech here in Arizona, so we cover the state. There's regional PTechs in Texas and California, such large states that cover that. There's also Native American PTechs who work with Native American companies with Native American tribes. There's 2 Native American PTechs here in Arizona. There's one up in the Winslow area that takes care of the Navajo Nation. And then the other PTech is located in Chandler in California, and they cover all the other tribes outside of the Navajo tribe in a geographic area. Our PTech is free. We're funded through a cooperative agreement with the Department of Defense. We offer one-on-one counseling services. We help you develop short and long-term goals on how to market. We help you through the certification process. Response. That's just a tip of the iceberg of what we can help you. We also have ongoing webinars and training opportunities, and there's a lot of other things that we can help provide for you. That's our website, azptech.com, and hopefully that you can go to that site, sign up, and see if you want to become a client of ours. So let's stop there, and I will get off my stop screen share, and we get some questions and answers.
All right, thank you, Danny. I appreciate the presentation. Great job. We have a few questions that popped up. Also for the attendees, in the chat box, I put in the beta.sam.gov website. You can see that in the chat box.
Yeah, I do apologize for that, Bob. I thought I had the updated one, but they changed, and I should have double checked that. But it's if you Google fbo.gov, it will take you to beta.sam. So they haven't completely got rid of that yet.
Okay, so we have a few questions that the people brought up. The first one is, if my LLC is in another state, do I need to domesticate my LLC to Arizona to be eligible for Arizona, Phoenix, or Maricopa County contracts?
Well, you should do that, but Arizona and Phoenix and Maricopa County, they will contract with anybody for the right price, and that you can actually, you got to, be able to do that job. But if you're going to be working in Arizona, we highly recommend that you do get yourself registered with the appropriate sites here in Arizona. You can go to the Commerce Authority and find that, but you're going to go to Arizona Corporation Commission, and register your business to do business here in Arizona.
Okay. No, does the government conduct focus groups pre-contract phase on these projects, or do the small businesses participate in information gathering? And how does a small business become involved in these pre-contract focus groups if they do them?
Yeah, if typically, not always, but mostly in most solicitations, not only from the federal side, but state, city, and counties, they'll do a pre-solicitation meeting and conference. There's a lot of them now, aren't in person because, everybody's they're doing